What would you like to hear?
I would like to hear more about the relationship between guru and disciple.
It's a good topic. I don't mind this topic, but I don't know if all others will be interested in this. You can take it in a more enlightening way, because I cannot be totally orthodox. Some yes, but we have to take it in a more enlightening way. Let's see, though there will be some repetitions compared to the earlier satsangs. I couldn't avoid, because this topic will involve certain definite views. We could extend it more. Well, let's see first academics, I think, to understand the word guru and disciple. Now, as everything else is like that, half English, half Indian, like desert ashram, countryside ashram, so guru and disciple. Disciple is English word actually. Guru is Indian word, okay? So everything is mixed up that way. But actual word for disciple is shishya. Roughly it's the same as disciple, I think. Shishya means who lives under the shasan. Shasan meaning a kind of discipline, a kind of rules and regulations, or kind of dharma enunciated by the guru, and disciple follows. Disciple also is one who follows that discipline. Guru, as you practically all of you may know, exceptions apart, is a derivative word which means dispeller of darkness. Darkness means ignorance or unconsciousness. Gu is andhakar, that is darkness, ignorance. Ru is the one who removes, the dispeller. Though another also word meaning of guru in Indian language is the great. Guru meaning something very big, great, which also is okay. So the guru is the one who has seen the light, or supposed to be, seen God and enlightened, self-realized soul, perfected one. Not all gurus can be same. The real guru, who is expected to be perfect, to be enlightened, realized, would be called Sadguru. Sad again means true, real. And Guru then would be a teacher. Now, in other words, one is the way shower, another is the one who treads on the path. One is a path shower, one is a path finder, the disciple. One is a guide, one is to be guided. Now, in this dualistic world, when everything is relative, certainly guru-disciple would be relative term too, as it is. The major difference between, let's say, according to Hinduism and compared to some other religions or whatever, the major difference is this. Not that other religions don't have gurus of their own kind, but in no other religion, I'm not now trying to compare religions here, just to give an idea. There's no other religion where guru or a master, as you might translate, would be God incarnate or a disciple. It's a major difference, probably the only difference. And that makes a whole, therefore, difference of the understanding of guru-disciple totally. What the disciples of Jesus, when Jesus was physically present, implied in looking at Jesus, is the same according to Hinduism. They would look at their master, those at least who believe he realized and perfected one, would have the same view that the disciple would have in Jesus, like Son of God. They won't say Son of God, they would say God or God's messenger or as good as God, I mean one with God, and language again. That's the biggest difference between the religions. Otherwise, it means one who has seen the light or reached the goal, destination, and now can lead others. Not all gurus, again, are on the same category. Some few may be highest and then lower and lower, and so on. But at no stage, any guru that means on any stage, on any level, is worthy from this angle that the disciples who need that level to reach, where their guru is, whether perfect or imperfect, for them still guru can be God. Why? Because that's the time, at that level, that's the only one who can show the path to that particular disciple on that level, and he's as good as God for them on that level. When a disciple progresses, and let's say guru didn't progress further, and he wasn't, so let's say, perfect, then you are entitled to another guru. Or by that time you may die, and next birth again, same guru will come more promoted. In other words, it's very, very rare that any guru will not be incompetent for anyone. He's competent on any level for any disciple. So long you grow, he grows. If he doesn't grow, you die. And next birth, he also comes out progressed. And you meet the same guy. Or sometimes not. That's true. Sometimes gurus change, no doubt. The disciples change. Barring those, what you call, irregularities. Yeah, there are always radicals in the blood, you know. You know the science of radicals nowadays. Yeah, they produce chaos. But as a general rule, when we enunciate something, we talk about generalities in a sense. In general sense, therefore, Guru's position remains the same, whether perfect or imperfect. To cap it all, or crown it all rather, also I might add, even if supposing a disciple's faith, a surrender, a total belief in his or her guru being perfect, supposing doesn't hold good or will not hold good, since the guru might not be perfect, might not be enlightened, and so on. And supposing a disciple carries full faith, full surrender, which also is rare. No, don't think it's so common with disciples and only gurus who've gone failing, you know. It's not that way. Actually, it's the other way around. Very few gurus fail, many disciples, and many disciples fail. Okay. I'm not trying to say here who is bigger or not. That's not the point. If we compare, we lose the ground, you know. But even if, and this is my crowning, I would say, idea, that even if a disciple's unflinching faith or unconditional surrender or some high-grade devotion doesn't get repaid by Guru being so great, I'm talking from my experience and so on, even then disciple is not a loser. Because why? Psychologically, he or she has cultivated that kind of virtue, faith, surrender, devotion, whatever. Though, let's say, put on a wrong spot. But you have cultivated that nature in you. So if it doesn't get repaid on that particular spot, you still carry your virtues with you, and you can then extend wherever you want and carry forward to the next page, you know. So, therefore, what I mean to surmise is, at no time, therefore, this basic relationship of guru-disciple can ever be changed. It's classical. Either way, guru or disciple angle. Now, some may call it blind faith, used to reason out. But guru, what the name, I have never seen through scriptures as well as personal experiences. I have never seen, exceptions apart again, where any guru discourages reason. They may not allow us to dwell too much upon reason, too much upon rationality, or too much upon discussion, or too much upon debates. That's only because they think it's a mental, intellectual habit again, and losing the way and distracting ourselves. Therefore, not because they don't understand the value of reason. The inquiry, the queries, the questions, if you have read the scriptures, Upanishads, Vedas, and other scripture, at least from the Indian background point of view, you'll see the questions and answers are just rampant. I mean, they're just all over. Disciple asking question and Guru answering, though there's no nasty way of discussion, and that is what they discouraged. There should be no undue way of discussion, but any constructive, they are very happy to get the questions. Always. The norm, the etiquette, the conduct of the inquirer, questioner, disciple has to be in order to learn, in order to inquire, not in order to debate or defeat or win each other. This attitude has a difference. So many times, for example, if there's a certain insensible, not only insensible, that could be, but there's supposing sometimes very objectionable questioning, very attacking questions, very unreasonable, just not to learn but just to show off, And therefore a guru, instead of replying directly, says, oh, he's a crazy fellow. That ends the matter. It's not a wrong answer. You see, but if you're a right questioner, if the right question, or even if sometimes insensible, but in the sense of knowing you're asking that insensible question, that will be answered by the Guru, real type of a Guru. Now, that's the general kind of description. But what is the deeper level of Guru and disciple? Actually, what it is? What is the relationship? I would not like to compare with lover, beloved, and husband and wife, and one could, part of it, yes, but not totally. It's not totally applicable. There are certain areas which are common. So we can also say Guru disciple like father and son, or a friend and a friend, mother and a child. Yes, all will apply to the Guru disciple. The only difference is, whereas all other relationships, any brother, sister, husband, wife, lover, beloved, and mother and child, and father and son, all those are included in Guru discipleship. But there's one biggest difference that more leads you, enlightens you further out of that relationship and attachment, rather than determining it, rather than fixing it up. Whereas mother, child is mother and child. You know what I mean? Friend and friend are friends. Guru disciple is friend and friend too. But Guru doesn't end there. Out of that friendship, he leads you to enlightenment, leads you to freedom and liberation. That's the initiation. It's called initiation. If Guru were to be just our friend, our father, our mother, our lover and beloved, our brother or sister, whatever, then there's no need. No, we already have those. And we don't have, we adopt. But they end there. In that gratification, they end, which we generally call moha, mamat. That is attachment, alignment. He no doubt accepts that relationship with you in the sense you choose, if you're qualified, of course. I'll elaborate on this later a little bit. It's not only you choose a relationship with the Guru, but also if he sanctions it. It's not one way. So it's not as you look at it, God, that God will just accept you that way. Technically, yes. But doesn't happen if you don't qualify that way. There are many skirmishes on those issues. That it's not one-sided thing. But then he employs that or uses that, if you can say so, that relationship of a kind you choose, and he has sanctions. And then gets you slowly out of it to the more liberated view. He uses that relationship as your psychological format only. Now, as I'm talking from here and you're listening to me, you're thinking the Guru plans that way. No, really not. I'm coming to that third degree, more deeper level later on than psychological. It's not he plans to use a relationship and then gets you out of it and so on. It's not a technical kind of planning. It's more so this way. Of all any other thing between Guru and disciple, the biggest or the largest or the greatest point is this. The Guru never treats, I don't mean outer behavior, takes into inside. He never accepts any disciple thinking to, from his or her, whichever Guru is, his or her end, he already, when accepts a disciple or initiates a disciple, he already has become one with you. Can't get out of it. That's the biggest point in it. In other words, though he is using a relationship, using, I'm putting quotes, he's not using, actually, it's not a doormat. But just to want of a better word, if he is employing or uses the relationship objectively or in dualistic and relative form, is only because you see that way. His initiation is into oneness, he starts with that. That other than irregularities, ups and downs, and going far and distant, and things like that, are simply working out your method from your end. But you feel from your dualistic point of view, you feel what he or she does to you or with you, and you know how he behaves or relates to, will be from your dualistic point of view as if action and reaction, which is not the Guru's part at all. He's already one. In case supposing while initiating or when he accepts a disciple wholeheartedly, supposing if you were totally open that time, without your reservation, without resistance, without your karmas left, without your doubts, without your too much of ups and downs and you know all that kind of nonsense and whatever, then you would see that he has already become one right away there. There's no more journey left. But since the disciple is not that enlightened, the disciple is not that reached soul yet, the disciple has not started doing those austerities, penances or practices or deeper insight understandings, so he or she takes from his angle the way he or she can only look at or understand. This makes your guru understandable according to your capacity only. So at the end, when you reach the end, let's say destination, liberation, enlightenment, or being one, then you will see that this already, he was that when he initiated you, or formally or informally, or he was with you that time. Initiations I'll come to later on. That's the biggest point. So since from his or her angle, the Guru's angle, side, he's already one with the disciple, therefore you might have heard that birth to birth, even same Guru you get. You know, only because that's linked now. You can't get out of it. Except, as I said, exceptions where the Guru wasn't enlightened, wasn't perfect, and now you have reached very high. You meaning not every disciple, but some disciple. Very high. Now you are promoted to for some other higher Guru, then only that change happens. There are cases when that happens, but normally not. Normally when you grow, he grows too. And he grows more rapidly because he's already higher, normally speaking. But there are always, as I said, irregularities. Now, coming back to the psychological aspect now, therefore, what happens? In the relating to, whether it's a friend, brother, disciple, or mother, father, or Lord and servant and devotee, whichever relation we choose. Sometimes there are a combination of relationships in one person, one disciple. It's not that you choose only one relationship. There are sometimes some categories can have more than one, and depends upon those how they integrate those things. And again, I'm repeating, is not the way disciple chooses only, but if the Guru sanctions, if he thinks that's right, not otherwise. We had qualified for that too. Now, this psychological aspect is simply used, if I can use the word used, only because normally as human beings, we are only conscious of being related to. We only understand through relationship, otherwise we don't understand, really so. It's not like a wooden and stone idol where you can't establish any relationship, even as a friend and friend. Though we say this is God in the church or the temple or wherever. This being the case with human, as human nature, we can only relate to, understand through relationship. Otherwise, it's just not possible for the human beings. It is possible, like a guru disciple, original word or disciple who follows discipline, samyam, shishya. From that angle, if I talk technically, then a guru tells you rules, laws, practices, and disciple follow the discipline and do it. Like a student and teacher, for example. Now, that for some is okay for some time, very few, others won't relish it. It has to be more than that. To say two things at the same time will be easy to understand. The guru-disciple relationship is too personal, at the same time it's too universal. It's not only personal, it's more personal than anyone else, but it's also universal. In the sense it brings you out of all those things eventually. Now, that may take you a decade or a birth or 10 births. That's time is a different question. But ultimate aim will be this: to use your own mental format, the way your mind thinks of relationship, the way your mind can make it tangible. The Guru will go through that path to you. In Krishna's life, this is very evident, more than probably anyone else's. Anyone else's also has same examples, but not to that extent of variety, not to the extent of extensions as in Krishna's life. That in Krishna's life is not that he went on making disciples. On the contrary, very few. Others were his many other relationships, including his mother, his foster mother, his friends, and his boy and girl friends, and his ultimate queens. Before that, some disciples too, like Arjuna and Uddhav and Vidur and so on. And apart from his fatherly, motherly lover, beloved, and his children was Yadav dynasty, that was different later on, including enemies. All the relationships in Krishna's life, as we see, were so molded, so used, again used what I'm using under quotes, in a certain way that their salvation lay through those relationships. If you can catch that point, you'll understand Guru disciple is not simply college or school teacher and students paying fees and filling in the form. It's not like that. It's too personal and it's too universal. It's universal in that sense, it extends, transcends any of the relationships of the world. But it's too personal in the sense that what nobody knows about you, he knows everything about you. Whether you have told it or you have not told it. He may say it or not say it openly to you. But if he were to describe, if he's really enlightened soul, if you were to describe any disciple in details, you'll be surprised. How did he know all this? I'm not talking about psychological alone. I'm talking about physical details. Social life, the human life, the home life, the friendly life, the ashram life, the name it. It's not that they are supposed to say either. They are more personal with you than even you even dream of. This is exactly what we mean by oneness. But he has started with oneness. You are going to end into oneness. When? You know only better. God doesn't know that. If God knew, he would have done right away. When you will know. That when you really reach that pure consciousness or the realization or the goal, you'll smile simply that this already I knew I had. Why didn't I see it? Something like that. It's the same thing. When you come to oneness one day, you will see the day you first saw your guru or met or being accepted, that was the same day you could have seen this. Same day he was like this to you, already one. You'll be surprised to see this, if ever you get fortunate enough, whenever. But normally we miss it also, this experience, only because we don't finish the job in one birth. By the next birth you come to finish the job, a third birth, he has changed his form too. So he's not the same to you. You see the point? Whether he's changing or not is a material, but he's not the same in the context of the body and mind. This being the case, therefore, you see, it's not only personal and universal, but to explain it better, why even Guru has been worshipped as God, this has been baffling for many souls. I do not preach this for the want of this misunderstanding about humbug. That is this. I could have easily said a million times, this same thing. But I know unless you're ready to understand or accept it, it's no use me babbling about it. That's not my way, that's all. One could go on babbling on the crossroads and take the scripture in hand and go on doing it till you buy or listen or go away. My way is not that. My way is I'll see you're nearing about accepting or nearing about understanding it, then I'll say it. It is this. There's one aphorism in the Vedas. A disciple is telling his enlightened guru, When a guru is talking about God and worship and seeing the vision of God and realizing, the very disciple is telling the guru in one of the scriptures, the only God I know is you, sir. What he implies is, which other God they see anyway? The one who is enlightened has seen the path, has reached the destination, at least as we may believe, is the only God visible to us. Actual God, wherever, whatever he is, they have not seen it. Till they reach there, no. But till they reach there, the way is through Guru anyway. That's why even Jesus said, I am the way and the truth and the life. Now, if we generalize it into enlightened masters, it's the same thing for any master. The your way is but through me, something like he said. I may not know that biblical English. That he's right, what he's saying. But we are generalizing in this way that any enlightened master, the perfected one, will have the same truth and the life and the way for you. And he is the God for you, a son of God for you. Prophet, when we come to prophets, it's a different category then. But that doesn't erase the enlightened souls as being masters, as being the incarnations of God. And there is an aphorism in the Vedas. Every guru is God incarnate for the disciples. And therefore they worship him that way. I'm not teaching you these things, but that's the way it is. That because he knows he is objectively and subjectively one with you, whether you know it or not, same thing is with God too. No, God is one with us. We don't know, simply no. That's the same thing. Spirit is within us. We don't know. Light is within us. We don't know. Same thing is whether Guru is perfect or not. We don't know. But there's a big belief again. It's a faith again. So since it starts from his side oneness and he is enlightened, perfected, as we might believe, whether we know it or not, implies that that's the nearest God we could have. Come to worship, I don't mean necessarily technical formula worship, but even if that was so and not, also applies there too, because our mind, as a disciple's mind, what is the whole role? Now practice that second stage of between Guru and disciple. What is the whole role of Guru-disciple to work with each other anyway? It has disciples' ego to be merged, to be dissolved, to make it egoless eventually. That's the main thing. Worship actually is that, how you dedicate, devote your mind, worshipping the Lord, so that the mind gets losing there. That's exactly, you start with, some start with wooden idol or cement idol. We say, okay, Guru is a human idol. You see, this is what we consider. It's not so much a body worship. Body we see, therefore we start with body. But Guru is not just a body. He is a body too, but not only. That way God is this world too, but he's not this world only. Much beyond it. This transcendence a disciple doesn't see before. Not seeing this, his tangibility is gross, the physical form of it. It is not right, it's not ultimate, but at the same time, where would you start? Only where you stand. Once you transcend this grossness, physicality with the materialistic outlook, then worship, rituals, ceremonies, all change their context. Therefore, worship sense of Guru disciple also. We always feel whatever is done, if you're doing with a sincere, you're devoted, your real well-meaning, genuine search for your light and God or vision. The whole idea is therefore to merge the mind and ego, isn't it? Whichever way it happens. Yena, tena, prakarena, as Sanskrit offers. So if the worship, or the dedication, or the devotion, or the faith, or any, name it, ritual, or ceremonies, or no ceremonies, are making your mind merge and making you, what you call lean, mind becomes extinguishing. Whatever helps it is correct, so long your search is genuine. If your search is intellectual only, philosophical, if your search is, let us see when it happens, we'll have it, something like that, then naturally you can doubt anything. Then any ritual, any worship, any formalities, any ceremonies, any dedication, devotion would be always tinged with reservation and tongue in the cheek, always. Whether consciously or subconsciously. But the genuine seeker, the genuine disciple, really who is what we say, studious student, one who really means to achieve, one who really wants to be realized and enlightened and have God vision, will have no squabbles, will have no two views about it, but anything which will make him or her merge there unto the Master, unto the God, they will accept it without reservation. Definitely. Our reservations come only when the mind is thinking so many things. When the mind is not genuine seeker, a disciple's mind is not pinpointed on the one goal of life, then will be many resistances and reservations or any other trying to justify things, trying to philosophize many things. Philosophy ends once you're a guru. I can readily say this. Once you accept a guru and you're a genuine seeker, you'll philosophize him. What questions only remain is about the way. How to tread on the path will be the only legitimate questions. How to proceed. Not that discussion is discouraged. Not the reason is crippled. No, they have no doubts. They have no reasons left, except where they don't know that they ask a question. As if they're asking the address, and they just will go. When they get stuck again, they will ask again. And Guru will say, okay, this, now you do this, you don't do this. That's called faith. It's not blind. You are believing in him or her that he is your way sure, and you believe he knows. That's up to you. I've already said, even if you didn't, and you believe, you will never be deceived ultimately because you have cultivated those virtues in you. I'm talking from personal experience. This, therefore, in Guru discipleship, the main point is this. What you want to be, whether consciously or unconsciously, you know it or not. Or the way you express may not be perfect itself, even if Guru knows your inner feelings, your inner real urge where you do. Sometimes disciples are aware of that, sometimes they're not. Mostly they are not. Even that he knows, if he knows that and you don't know, he will always guide to make you that be what you truly want to be. This is not known to many disciples. This is the biggest point in it. He's trying to make you reach where you really want to be, which genuinely you may be able to express or not. You genuinely may be even knowing it or not even. Our knowledge is to a point, to a degree, and you express only that much. Okay, accept that. But don't think he's accepting that only to give you that. Beyond that, what you even don't know. This oneness makes him see through you totally. Every time he won't expose or say everything, there's no need to, unless that was needful. So whatever blocks he finds on your way, he'll try to remove for you. Sometimes that's pleasant, mostly it's unpleasant. It's only because of our resistance and reservations. If they were open, if they were devotional, if they were more sincere, honest, then you will see that you won't find it unpleasant. It's unpleasant because of our own resistance and reservations. It would be otherwise smooth. As smooth as we say a hair pulled out of the butter. Have you ever seen? Try tomorrow in the kitchen. See how smoothly, without noise, without jerking, and smoothly, very balmy, comes out so soothing, lovingly. You'll wonder, you'll as if never want to end it. It should be like that. It's a Vedic aphorism actually, like the hair through the butter. It should be that smooth. But since our resistance comes, or our pulling back comes, our many calculations come, many, name it, doubts come, many misunderstandings, many selfish motives come in, or wants not being fulfilled, therefore some agitation or some kind of reaction and so on. So that makes things what you call bumpy, The road becomes bumpy. Not only bumpy, it becomes prolonged, therefore delays. Therefore it takes years, decades, and lives. Not because it was supposed to take so much time. Not only so, we, or at least I, consider if there were to be a comparison of relationships on this earth, and which one were the highest. Now, I'm not the man of comparisons, you know that. I don't believe in comparisons, but just for the sake of understanding only, then I would consider Guru discipleship as the highest relationship. Not only sacred and holy, but it's the highest. Because no one can be ever so close to you, whether knowingly or unknowingly, as Guru would be. That being the case is the nearest possible relationship to God. And therefore, if they worship God and Guru in the same category as if since thousands of years, there's no wonder. Some may do blindly or just the mechanical or just because everybody does it. That's different. But if you do in an awakened way, in more deliberate way, the more knowing way, the more, yes, that's the way it should be, then you will see that you will progress quickly from a spiritual point of view. And not selling Guru. You brought up the questions, I'm answering. I do not sell Guru discipleship, not in a normal sense, in a formal sense. But really taking, there's no higher relationship, no. It can include all relationships. That's a wonderful idea in it. That he can be your God, your father, your mother, just name it, Lord, So, which other relationship in the world can include more than one or two relationships at the most? Two, I think. Beyond two, I don't think so. Your mother can be a mother as well as a friend. Yes, that ends the matter. She cannot be your father, She'll make a mess if she... Your father can be your... Okay, three. Your father can be your father, your friend, and a teacher. At the most. Three. Even that's doubtful. Two, mostly, I think. That's why we sing sometimes the aphorism, Tameva Mata Chapita Tameva. Of course, we are singing to God, but that same thing applies to Guru too. That He is our wisdom also. So, there are three stages here: the gross, the psychological, and the spiritual. Guru is supposed to perform and fulfill all those three, to make you go beyond one level each time, from beyond the gross to the psychological. When it gets into psychological, it gets more unpleasant because then your hidden subconscious mind is tackling. That's where the difficulties arise, mostly. Because even subconscious sometimes is known to us, sometimes not. And he deals with those, your subconscious mind. To that point or degree, depends how much you allow him. If you restrict him, then he will not deliberately, forcibly go into your subconscious and stir it up. Sometimes he would, a thing or two at a time. But if you allow him to do that, you'll see he stir up. So all pleasant, unpleasant things will come up from subconscious. Depends how much you're open to him that he brings it up. With some, once every 10 years, one thing. And they are sitting here too. I could name them, I won't. I'm eager to, but not. Yeah, and they once every 10 years, one thing from subconscious mind open up, and even then it's unpleasant. I'll put it back again, close the envelope, put it back. Next 10 years again. And some, every year, one or two things come out. So when the 10 years back, they look at, boy, I could have done this very first year. Right, but you took 10 years. Yeah, now I'll be quick. And like that, the khargosh, the hare, the bunny, she sleeps again, goes to sleep. She promised she'll do quickly again. Like a nap, that khargosh, that bunnies nap, when they run. Have you seen that? They run, and then they stop again and it goes to nap again. They'll think they will never do it, and they'll jump up again, and next is again go sleep. So once every year, one or two things will come up. Even then, they'll go on hurting till next interview. Something exposed. This is how we slow it down, by our reservation, resistance, and clinging on to certain things. Otherwise, technically speaking, in principle, it could be done on the day you accept the disciple or guru. It could be done the very day. But it takes years. That delay is not due to Guru. That delay is to our mind, because of our mind. This, therefore, spiritual, psychological, and gross, all the levels of contact, you'll see, who know the relationship can do. If it's the highest relationship, classical. It's to our detriment if we carry the same doubt, same reservations, same resistances, same hide and seek games with the Guru as we do with others. It'll be a very faulty method. It's very detrimental. Again, from Indian point of view, or Vedic point of view, I would say, not all are so there either. They only, I would say, I'm not trying to compare here, but trying to make you understand. They will only accept and go to a guru or a master that, sir, now I accept you and you please initiate me. And when they think other relationships they don't want, or they're finished with those other relationships, then only. In other words, they don't carry on the same hide and seek games and reservations and blogs and doubts there. On the contrary, what they had in the world, they end there, therefore they go to Guru. Now, technically it is so. We still might fail. That's different. But for 10 years, 20 years or more, carry on the same jargon with other relations as with the Guru. That is, not tolerable. Meaning that's not really understandable, because why would you otherwise have a Guru? You see my point? We're defeating the purpose for which we go to a master. It's something like that you're going to a restaurant and carry your own food and open on the table. Why would you go to a restaurant? You go to a picnic table on some river bank or in the forest. You're going to a restaurant, you have to pay bill and, order there. Should carry your own food and open up the bundle on the table there has no meaning. Out of courtesy, the hostess may say, the waitress, well, okay, it's okay. Okay, come on, finish and go. It's defeating the same purpose, you see, for which you accept the master. If you carry on the same iota of relationships there, it may not be so possible on the first day you give up everything. No, of course not. But there's understanding there, that within such a reasonable timing, that should change. Why would you otherwise go to a master if the faith and the devotion and those would be lacking? You see the point? There are always degrees, I know. There are degrees, but not if you are not in a well-grounded relationship, well-founded relationship. This is difficulty sometimes. Otherwise, this is the crowning point, that what I was giving that example last time, candle and the candle, applies to Guru and disciple. That's what I exactly meant last time. That he could, or she, could make that candle, your candle burn out of his candle, if everything was just ready, open and prepared. To make you ready and prepared, it takes all these decades, lives or years, whatever. Just to be prepared to bring you to the threshold of that chamber where you would like to enter. Inside, everybody wants it, actually wants it. Whether we know it or not, whether we can express it that way or not. But when it comes to that, our mind and ego plays their own part. This is why the discipline is made for a disciple. Knowing where that mind could be solved. Which things are the blocks or hiccups. What is that called? Hitches. Where the mind is getting blocked, or hang-ups. I meant to say hang-ups, I said hiccups. So he sees that. And so how to solve those hang-ups, how to solve those blocks and remove, he does that. But this also depends upon how much you're allowing. It's not everything happening what you are doing, sir. It's not like that. It depends how much you're allowing. If he was to catch everybody's neck and make him do, then that would not be a Guru disciple. That will be puppeteer and puppets. It has to be with the cooperation of the disciple. Therefore, the common